Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a real-world, 2-year review of a seriously impressive piece of equipment that tackles something we all deal with on a daily basis: preservation. You know, whether it's trying to keep tonight's dinner fresh for later or even protecting the hardware sitting out in your garage, we all absolutely want our investments to last. So let's explore exactly how one user solved this whole preservation puzzle using an incredibly heavy-duty approach.
But before we actually get to the hardware itself, let's set the stage a bit with a highly relatable scenario from our source material. So, the user who provided this 2-year review lives alone. And look, if you have ever cooked for one person, or honestly even just for a smaller household, you know the absolute inevitability of this situation: leftovers. You prep a nice meal, and no matter how perfectly you try to portion it all out, you almost always end up with extra food, right? The immediate challenge then becomes, how on earth do you store those daily leftovers so they actually still taste good the next day or even the next week without totally falling victim to freezer burn or just spoiling in the back of the fridge? Well, that constant daily battle with leftovers is exactly what drove our reviewer to seek out a serious, permanent solution.
Section 1. Meet the Vevor Sealer, the heavy-duty hero.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that to conquer that daily leftover dilemma we were just talking about, the user didn't just go out and buy a standard, run-of-the-mill kitchen gadget. No, they went all in and upgraded to a commercial-grade solution. I mean, just notice the sheer build quality of the machine we're looking at here. This is absolutely not some flimsy plastic device that you just tuck away into a kitchen drawer. This is the Vevor Chamber Vacuum Sealer. Look at that robust stainless steel body, the totally industrial-looking power switch right there on the side, and that highly detailed control panel that actually features both digital readouts and an analog pressure gauge. And you definitely have to notice that incredibly thick, heavy, clear lid right on top. That heavy lid is absolutely essential because unlike those cheap sealers, this machine actually pulls a vacuum inside that entire inner chamber before sealing the bag, which, as you can see, brilliantly results in those beautifully preserved, completely airtight cuts of salmon and steak.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at exactly why this specific upgrade matters, because this is honestly where the reviewer's experience really shines. Our source emphatically notes that for someone living alone and dealing with a constant stream of leftovers, a chamber vacuum machine like this Vevor does, and I quote, so much better than a countertop machine. You see, standard countertop machines really just suck air out of the open end of a bag, which, often ends up crushing your delicate foods or aggressively sucking up all the liquid, completely ruining the seal. But a chamber machine, it regulates the pressure around the entire item all at once, making it incredibly effective and super reliable for storing daily leftovers, literally no matter what you're packing away.
Section 2. Mastering the mason jar beyond the basic bag.
According to the 2-year review we are analyzing today, while bags are obviously great, the user's absolute primary application for this heavy-duty machine is actually vacuum sealing mason jars. Now, if you've ever tried to vacuum seal a mason jar yourself, you might have used one of those little handheld pump gadgets or maybe some cheap hose attachments. Well, our reviewer explicitly points out that for sealing jars, the Vevor completely 100% outclasses those handheld gadgets. Because the jar actually goes entirely inside that pressurized chamber, right under that heavy acrylic lid, the vacuum it achieves is incredibly strong and reliable. It practically guarantees that whatever dry goods or short-term fridge items you have in those jars are going to stay perfectly preserved. But wait, here is where we absolutely need to be incredibly precise about food safety and preservation methodology. So the crucial point is this: our user makes a very, very clear distinction between vacuum sealing and true long-term preservation. When it comes to long-term food storage in mason jars, the reviewer states they mostly just pressure can the food instead. So while vacuum sealing is utterly fantastic for keeping air away from daily leftovers or your dry goods, it is absolutely not a substitute for the high heat and pressure of actual canning when you want to put shelf-stable food away for months or even years. It's a really great demonstration of making sure you're using the right tool for the right job.
Section 3. The unexpected rust solution. A plot twist in the garage. Now this is where our little kitchen explainer takes a rather surprising plot twist and moves straight out into the garage. So we've talked about salmon, steak, and mason jars, but our reviewer discovered a highly unconventional, completely unexpected use for their vacuum bags. They actually started using the Vevor to vacuum seal small hand tools. I know, right? Why on earth would you vacuum seal a wrench? Well, to prevent rust. Think about it, rust requires oxygen and moisture to form.
By placing small hand tools into a heavy-duty bag and using the chamber sealer to evacuate absolutely all the air and moisture before sealing it completely tight, the user essentially pauses time on the metal. It keeps those tools in pristine, rust-free condition indefinitely. It is just a brilliant, completely out-of-the-box application of this technology.
And this brilliantly illustrates the reviewer's entire 2-year, highly practical workflow. Just walking through this breakdown, we have those daily leftovers perfectly handled by the vacuum bags. Then we've got dry goods and short-term items secured powerfully in mason jars using the chamber vacuum. We have that brilliant life hack of vacuum sealing small hand tools and bags to fight rust. And finally, we have the appropriate, totally safe method of pressure canning reserved specifically for true long-term food storage. It's amazing because this one single machine has fundamentally optimized how this user preserves both their food and their physical household investments.
Section 4. The 2-year verdict, the ultimate test of time.
So, after seeing that impressive build quality and analyzing this incredibly diverse workflow, the big question is, did it actually hold up to 2 full years of continuous, highly versatile use? Well, the reviewer answers this with absolutely zero hesitation. After 2 solid years of sealing daily meals, pressurizing mason jars, and, rust-proofing garage tools, their final verdict is a resounding, would I buy it again? Yes. I mean, that is just a massive endorsement of the machine's durability, its commercial-grade value, and honestly, most importantly, its sheer practical versatility for a single-person household.
We've really seen how thinking just a bit outside the kitchen completely transformed a standard food sealer into an ultimate tool preserver. It really makes you look around your own house a bit differently, doesn't it? So I want to leave you with this thought. Armed with a machine that completely removes air and moisture, what unexpected item would you vacuum seal to protect from the elements? Really think about it, and keep exploring new ways to preserve the things that actually matter to you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you guys on the next one.